You still on this weekend for a little?
You know it. I'm in desperate need of some.
What about you, Jim?
No, my sister's getting the wedding. She's getting married, so.
When adventure calls, make sure you're ready to answer. STA-BIL 360 ethanol treatment is specifically formulated for year-round use, so your engines will be ready when you are. Ready, willing, stable.
The next generation of auto detailing is here, where simplicity meets performance. 303 graphene nanospray coating. Get a year of protection from a powerful graphene oxide formula. A formula that sends water flying off surfaces, keeping water spots at bay. Go beyond wax, beyond ceramic. Graphene nanospray coating from 303.
The Falken Azenis RT660 is the enthusiast choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falken Azenis RT660.
Here at FCP Euro, we take pride in the fact that each and every one of your orders is picked, packaged, and shipped by a fellow car enthusiast. We understand that you need the right parts and need them fast to complete that next project or get your daily driver back on the road. Take John, our quality assurance specialist. He's normally found in the distribution center quality checking your orders, but he's also often found out on track in his Audi TT-RS, putting parts that we sell to the test, such as upgraded track pads and suspension components. John understands how important it is for you to trust the quality of your parts, whether at the limit or just simply going to the grocery store. If you want to learn more about us, head to fcpeuro.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to GRIDLIFE Live for Track Battle Heat number 3. Time Attack A rolling out into the grid right now. I had a chance to talk with Ferris Khartoumi right before this session.
Up underneath his car when I tried to talk to him.
He's still working on aero balance on the car.
Okay.
He wants things to be right.
Okay.
He told me that the track is really greasy.
He's out there.
And he did not think that he would be able to go much faster today on the tires that he brought. So he put the street tires on. He's going for a track mod record.
Oh, man.
And I have no doubt that he's going to be able to go really fast.
It's kind of really bully of him to be doing that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's flexing pretty hard.
It's like bringing a howitzer to a knife fight. I mean...
So he said that the slicks that he was running in the previous sessions
he
have
runs
8.
Yokes?
I think so.
Yokohamas?
Yep.
Okay.
He's got about 8 heat cycles on the pair that he was running.
Okay.
He has a set that only has 4 that he will run tomorrow.
Right.
But he
Makes
didn't
sense.
bring any sticker slicks with him.
Okay.
So I think what he's doing during this session is just going out to see if he can set a track mod record.
I would think that that's well within reach of him.
Yeah, I would expect so.
Currently, that's held by Team Swirly.
That's right.
I believe Swenson was driving because it is / Jeremy Swenson on there. So I think it was him driving at a 1:26.8.
I think it's within reach.
2020, so just last year.
It's still a really fast time, given that Ferris is only has set the record, but the previous record was a 23.
Yeah.
And Swenson's record is a 26. That separation is pretty small, given what we're used to seeing between the two classes.
Well, obviously he's beaten the record, and I don't think there's anybody else here who's going to take that away from him this weekend. I was kind of hoping to see the Pro Awesome Evo here this weekend, but I don't think that that's going to happen.
I'm almost certain that they're watching. Guys, you should be here. We miss you.
They kind of teased like they were going to, and then they didn't, and I can't describe how disappointed I am. But anyway, that's not much of he shaved off. 0.08 of a second that he shaved off of James's previous record, which is a very tiny amount of time.
And here he comes rolling past start-finish, Ferris Khartoumi on a hot lap. He was actually talking to me a little bit about the setup of this car and the challenges that he's faced recently. Yeah. The car makes so much downforce in the rear that the smoke you're hearing here, or seeing here, is likely tire rub. He's of course, you know the body of this vehicle is fiberglass.
Yeah.
He has worn through the wheel wells in the rear end. You've got so much droop because of the additional downforce.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
That he's burning through the chassis.
That's crazy.
And so
That's got to be a little bit.
I think I talked with him. He hasn't checked speeds yet, but given the gearing, he was expecting that he was about 170 on the back straight.
Yeah.
Very, very quick. Lots of downforce in this car.
Do you know did he share with you roughly what power level he
900
this weekend? 9. Okay.
So
Cool.
that's a lot.
Yeah, not all that he's got.
Yeah, I'm told that there's more.
Yeah, he's posted dynos as such, and our long-running joke between him and I is that he doesn't post his fastest or his best dyno time sheets, just because I like to give him a little bit of hard time when I can. So
Absolutely. And Ferris in this case he's working on the setup of this car. He's certainly the fastest Corvette. 25.5 new record.
No,
I thought you said it was 26.
Oh shit, we're on track mod right now. Yes, that's. Oh man.
So yeah, excellent time by Ferris Khartoumi, and just fantastic performance. He was saying that really he gets 1 or 2 hot laps per session at most, because as the car comes off track, he said temperatures really, really climb on the coolant.
Yeah.
And even if the intake temps are okay, it's really tough to keep the car cool for an extended period.
That car has, I believe, 2 radiators in it.
Correct.
I think there's still one in the front of the car.
There is.
In a roughly factory location. But there's also one behind him in the hatch.
My goodness, we were talking this morning about the speed that Grant Walker has developed this year.
Destroying it this weekend.
Wow, 29.8.
Also a track mod competitor. So he's on a street tire of some kind. He has really, he is hanging that car out.
He's like, last year, this car was not in the mix, and it is absolutely in it now.
Yeah, it's incredible to see his, it's always looked the part, but the car has never really shown the pace that it looks.
Well, and I don't think we've ever seen talent, or like his talent as a driver, be showcased either.
Right.
And he looks confident.
Yeah, he's killing it this weekend. That car is flying. A lot of slip angle coming in and out of those corners. He's really pushing it. It's cool to see.
Very, very cool looking Miata.
Well, I gotta just squirt off of that corner exit. Turbo K series.
Excellent. 128.9 is a very fast time for track mod.
Yeah, that would have been the record had Ferris not not quite. Very close to the record.
But different setups for sure. Those Corvettes, like getting a Miata to go that quick is certainly in its own right an accomplishment.
I don't know what kind of power that car makes. I can make a guess, but I don't know for sure. But it's certainly less.
Man, it's good looking though.
Yeah, really excited to see that car finally performing well. We saw the sister car to that, in a way, the Subaru Slumdog Millionaire at PPAR last event. Seemed to have a little bit of teething issues. Never got really quite the lap that I would have hoped to see out of it. So.
Well, and I know it's here. I saw it.
Oh, is it here?
It is here.
This weekend.
And Kendall is here as well. So
awesome.
I'm not sure why he hasn't taken the trek yet. It is a Subaru.
It is a Subaru. It is a twin-turbo Subaru.
Is that true?
Yes.
Well,
I looked at it. It's a 4-cylinder still. It is not the 6 like I kind of wondered. But there is a pair of turbos on that vehicle now.
Well, that seems elaborately engineered.
I love it though.
So session kind of rolling in A here. We've got Ferris Khartoumi again with his fast lap 125.549, very, very quick. Grant Walker not far behind, 28.993. And then Jimmy Rout with a 129.652 in the GT2 RS.
That's also a track mod car?
It is.
Okay.
And
mostly stock?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Okay.
It might have upgraded aero components from Ferris, maybe.
Okay.
But otherwise, I think it's stock.
Maybe the wildest car here, Logan Carswell on screen. 4-rotor, naturally aspirated.
And actually exciting in the street mod class. So Ryan Matthews right now leading with a 132.0. Of course, a little bit off the pace for the record, I believe.
Yeah,
29s. But Nick Kors not far behind with a 132.6.
A 129.4 is the current record in that class with Jackie. behind the wheel of the Supra last year.
So during the last session, we saw Sean Krebsbach pull off track with a substantial issue and had to be towed in.
Yeah.
He is, for some reason not yet identified, he is shearing off the bolts on crank pulleys. And that's a big problem, but it's an especially big problem because he has a dry sump that's driven off the crank pulley. And so the data shows that he was driving a decent amount of time without any oil pressure.
Oh, no.
We don't know if the car is hurt or not, but they're working to try and fix whatever the issue is, which has not yet. It's a weird issue. And yesterday it happened like not on track. And so they don't know yet why it's binding up or what's happening, but all the bolts have broken off, threaded in. So it's not going to be an easy job even to undo the mess.
No. Looks like maybe some problems with Dallas Reed there. Maybe he had to come in on the hook somehow. I know there's places you can pull off on this track, and the safety crews can get you from outside, not interrupting the session. So maybe he was able to do that.
We got Nick Gardner on track with his GT500.
Yes.
Big. It's loud.
Yes. Supercharged. Track monsters.
All the horsepower.
Yeah, it makes into the 7s. I haven't seen a whole lot of these just like in the wild. You'll see a GT350 or a 350R semi-regularly, but the GT500s haven't quite made it out there as much.
Car number 87, Team Twitch, also out on track with a 135.982.
Halka just destroying him in street class.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? It really depends on track, and it depends on comfort level, and which driver is going to come out on top for a weekend, because those two have traded top spots this year already.
Right.
And Halka's been here, and he's fast, and he's comfortable. And to my knowledge, this is Brandon's first time here.
Oh, really? Okay. I saw earlier when I was watching the live stream, when you were on here with Greg last session, Charles Miller, longtime street class competitor, one of Halka's biggest opponents, commented on there, "Oh, he's running 133s. Remind me to retire next year." So,
Spaz, we're missing you here at this event, and the weather's great, and it's sunny and breezy, and it's a great time to be at Mid-Ohio.
And it's probably cold and miserable in Minnesota because it's always cold and miserable in Minnesota.
Fact.
So
cars coming in from their hot laps now. I see Jimmy and Logan pulling in. But a few cars still out on track. You see Josh Halka there really pushing it right to the finish line, hitting the rev limiter at the start-finish to try and get the very most out of it. 33.696, still very quick. Jackie Ding, also in street class in his Tesla Model 3, 35.486. So I think there's some reservation about the electric cars in street class because there might be a perception that they have the potential to be dominant. But I think it depends a lot on the track.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the way it is in any class with any car. Some of these cars are going to perform better at certain tracks than others. This track, I don't know that it necessarily plays into anybody's strong suits, like, say, Road America being a clearly power-dominant track.
Yep, absolutely.
Or, this one, I mean, yeah, there's some straightaways, but there's a lot of tight sections. I think this one, as much of anything, is just manning up.
A little bit. I mean, it's a challenging course, and it's got a lot of flow. And I think one of the difficulties in the electrics on this track might just be managing the weight.
Yeah.
Right, because on the really high power tracks, I think, especially at Road America, making your way up the hill before the start-finish, when you are a lot heavier, even if you have power, it takes more energy to get you up to speed. And what I thought was really unusual at Autobahn, a couple of the top cars were electric in our street class, which you wouldn't think South Course necessarily would be a track that would favor electric cars, but it seemed to work out that way.
Yeah. I think that the biggest challenge in driving electric cars in general, this track or any other, is how hard it would be to to manage what speed you are at in a corner without the references that you get from a car, even outside of the normal audible references you get from an internal combustion car. Even like, I know I'm in third gear
and I want to be in whatever
so
gear.
fast.
Yep.
That's not a thing in a Tesla or most any other electric car. And I think that would be really hard to be able to manage and feel out and get used to.
Yeah, so I think that bit, someone like Jackie and I think Tony Barber have shown that there's a ton of performance potential available.
Yeah.
But you have to reframe your sensory cues to be able to drive it. So I think now we're checkering Time Attack A. We're going to be into Time Attack B here shortly. A few drivers improved, but actually not that many in the last session. So
really excited to see Grant Walker's times falling. Him really driving that car. Ferris resetting track mod record.
Good for him.
Pretty crazy. Really just,
Are you at all surprised?
No, I'm not surprised there. I think I'm most interested to see what he can do in track mod trim at Gingerman.
Sure.
Because I think that was probably the track that he left the least amount of room on the table in the configuration his car was last year.
Sure.
In track mod trim.
Okay. So
and so I think that track might be the biggest
I guess indicator of how much more performance has been.
Yeah, of improvement for his car.
Yep, I would agree.
So, no, I'm not surprised he went faster because look at it.
But I think he's pushing the envelope, and
I love it.
The progression I think is really important because the track mod and unlimited, because of travel restrictions and other things, has the pace of progression has slowed. And I think he's raising the bar.
Yeah, I still think, I'm sure that guys like Will and James and some of the other street mod track mod cars that we haven't seen, like Puglisi, who I know has been working on his car a lot, his Evo. I'm sure those guys are itching to come back here and prove they still have what it takes.
Yeah, it's Time Attack is never ending, right? It's something that you're going to be having to push and develop both as a driver and as a builder in order to stay on top of those record books.
Yeah. We've finally seen Will's car back in action at Pikes Peak this year after Road America in 19?
That was right, 2019.
Which had to be one of the scariest things that's ever happened at a GRIDLIFE event.
Or maybe anywhere.
But good to see that car and driver back out there. Saw he had a Hoonigan autofocus.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
I've not been on the internet much recently.
Oh,
so.
Come on, man. You got to live on the internet. I thought everybody lives on the internet.
Well, I'm a working man now, so.
Yeah. What's that like?
I don't. It's worse than not working.
Well, I don't know that I believe that, honestly. I think I don't know how well I would fare not working very long.
Well, give it a try.
No, I don't think I will.
But, yeah, Will's car is kind of an impeccable build always.
Gorgeous car.
Is absolutely one of those drivers that's pushing the pace.
Yeah. Hopefully now that we've seen it stateside at least once this year, I'm hopeful that we might see it at Midwest Festival.
That would be neat.
So, and maybe even a return for him to GLTC.
That would also be neat. That looks like a end plate from the Johnny Wang. Maybe?
I don't know. It also kind of looks like the bumper blank plate for somebody's license plate.
Could be.
Maybe.
Let's speculate.
Yeah.
Maybe one of our drone pilots can take us out there and give us a better look.
I'm still issuing the challenge that we need to put a transponder on a drone.
I think that's a great idea.
I think it would be hilarious.
I don't know that a drone could make a full lap at speed, though. Well,
I want this to happen so bad.
Well, anyone who's watching the stream couldn't hear what just came through our ear, but we were told that it can be done.
Okay, right. It'd be pushing it, which I kind of expected.
So another absolutely wild Time Attack build is that 350Z, or is it 370?
Yes, 350 from Exact Performance.
Really, really aero-focused car. Light on power relatively, but pure focus on carbon work.
It's anytime that's at an event, you have to go and look at it because it's the most gorgeous thing.
I think some of like the carbon weave that they use is even
huge.
Is like unusual looking.
It's I mean, when you look at it, the weave is the size of a checkerboard.
That's so bizarre.
It's giant. It's I mean, I would say that the weave is an inch to an inch and a half in size, and yeah, so you know, normal carbon fiber weave is much smaller than that.
Right.
And it looks wild. The front and rear of that car, like clamshell entirely off, like the whole back section of that car is one piece.
That's so bizarre.
From the bottom of the windshield all the way to the back of the deck lid is one piece, and the quarter panel. And it comes off the cage as one big piece of carbon and Lexan.
Neat.
It's wild. That's like exactly the type of car that brought me into Time Attack. Just seeing the level of ridiculousness, and like that's not something you can build within a defined rule book inside of most wheel-to-wheel.
Sure. Well, and practically, you know, how much does that affect performance? Probably some. Is it worth doing? I don't know.
Well,
but like you do it because you want it.
What that company Exact Performance is capable of doing, as it is a showcase of a race car.
Absolutely.
And you know, to that effect, they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, and they have done aerodynamic work for a number of drivers that we're familiar with in the Midwest track community.
Yeah. I love the CFD looking livery that it has.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
I know that Pete Collins in MS7 has an aero kit that is produced by Exact, and that car, when it was just NA on an E46 M3, that car was lightning quick, despite being underpowered because of how much aero performance it had.
Relatively underpowered.
So, I mean, it's a stock S54. It's like,
I thought they had an LS in it.
No. Even when it was just an S54, it was really fast.
The aero package on it before they put an LS in it.
So now it's an LS7, and it's a multi-purpose car because it's a full drift car and a full Time Attack car.
Yeah, it was sideways at Pikes Peak.
I hope with the Time Attack kit on. I told Pete that that's really how you need to run it.
That would be something else. It did still have the sequential trans and all the ridiculousness, but the aero was gone. I was quite sad.
So fast in this session, cars coming through, I think, on their first hot lap. Ben Lynn's out there, and as is David Ottebree in the old Mustang.
2 Fox Body Mustangs here this weekend, which I love. Grant Davidson, our current Club TR class leader.
David really getting after it there in that Mustang.
Yeah, I tried to find some time to go and look at it. Unfortunately, I spent most of my off time wrenching on cars.
Well, what'd you learn? This you're helping your friend Dalton Klein, who has a C6
right
Corvette.
Yep.
What's the issue?
We believe that it ate a cam sensor, and usually those, you know, they come out the front of the cam and timing cover. For some reason, it is stuck in there, and we can't get it to come out, so the whole front cover has to come off, which means the water pump and the crank pulley and all that have to come off. And so when I left, they've got
they're doing strings to get some aero performance there.
It's tough testing. They're verifying that the aero works the way they want it to. That is awesome.
Good for those guys.
I support all of this. A 135 for the power level that car makes is no small feat.
We've got Tony Barber and Patrick Daugherty both running in street class in the 40 to 41 range. Fast times, but off the pace relative to Josh. Josh Halka seems to be doing work this weekend.
Yeah. He's gonna be hard to touch.
So driver number 625 is Sam Maseljevic.
Okay.
He historically has registered in timing and scoring as Sam Bosnian, which I think is hilarious because he's Bosnian.
Right.
And it's easier to say.
Right, yeah. And most people know how to pronounce it right off the bat. Oh, Johnny C.
Little
off the
spinny
track
from Johnny Chichowski.
Yep. Everybody's favorite wing and arrow manufacturer. Pretty crazy LS-powered Miata there. Almost kind of a tube frame car at this point. His goal with that car to take the Miata Road Atlanta lap record, which I don't know offhand.
It's
I know it's held by Danny George, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's one of those a little bit more niche records. Much like the NAS 2000 Gingerman record on 200 treadwear tires.
Yes, you got to be careful because you can start getting the with. You know, you're getting down that. Uh-oh.
So we got a black flag on track. Drivers will be coming in here shortly. I can't imagine that it was for Johnny because he's already moving on course. Hopefully, whatever else is going on is no major issue.
I saw Johnny bleeding his cooling system between sessions, so hopefully he had whatever that was sorted out.
But talking about the NAS 2000 200 treadwear Gingerman record, that is currently held, I believe, by Jackie Ding in a 138.0. And the video of the lap is available on YouTube, and it is a masterclass in driving an S2000 at the limit.
Yeah.
And I will say that in my mind, that was kind of the inspiration for the Club TR class. We looked at that lap, and we looked how that car had been put together, and we said, well, like, you know, there should be a place for that.
Yeah.
And we should celebrate the extraordinary driving it takes to make a car with that low horsepower go that quickly.
My good friend Ryan Seiler has been running in Club TR all year. The kind of target time that we've been watching at each event for that class and his car and him is what we kind of consider to be like mid-pack GLTC times.
Sure.
Because his car probably makes pretty close to the power it would make. It might be a little heavier than it would need to be if it was in GLTC trim, and he has less tire. So if he can kind of manage a mid-pack pace with a car that's maybe a little under-prepped for GLTC, I mean, that's a very respectable accomplishment.
Absolutely.
You know? And so that's kind of where he's been targeting most of the season and done well so far at that.
Yep. And I just saw Jackie's S2 being driven in the Discovery Series Getaway Driver.
Right.
I haven't watched his follow-up videos yet, but I did know that he had some contact in that car during the filming of that show. So I'm hoping that car sees the track again soon.
Yeah. You know, different rumors have circulated around as to what he would do with that car. I've heard everything from making it the fastest S2000 in America, or maybe more than that, to just a good old-fashioned GLTC build. And, you know, obviously I want the time attack build. But hey,
sure.
I mean,
well, you know, the fastest S2 record, I mean, that's a tall order. Between Super K and Big Bad Wolf, that's...
There are a few other builds out there that maybe we haven't seen at GridLife at all, or maybe not so often, that I think if those cars could get out there and get after it, that I think that they're capable of putting down some really impressive times too.
I've heard that Tony Fuentes still has a very fast S2000, though it hasn't seen the track in some time.
Yeah. We saw a few fast S2000s that we don't normally see at Pikes Peak. Most every year we've been there. There's been one or two. There's a Turbo F-Series one. I can't remember the driver's name off the top of my head. A Zebulon Aero car. That's fast for sure. So, not sure where we're at on.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the safety crew was checking for slick spot. because it looked like they were not near an area where there were there was a car parked, but the safety crew person was walking out on the circuit. So
They did hold this session in pit, and they have not checkered it, which hopefully means they'll be able to go back out. Looks like some expensive camera equipment there.
does.
Just don't drop it, man. On live TV.
We used our video camera to record you doing something with your video camera. Lots of media out at the GRIDLIFE events.
Yeah.
Always plenty of photographers, both kind of internal to the organization and also other photographers providing, track photo services, among other things. And a fair number of YouTubers, actually.
It always shocks me how many, big name YouTubers show up to some of these events.
Yeah, there were quite a few at Alpine.
Quite a few, yeah. A lot of drifting YouTube celebrities. Some Time Attack even, some of them. Dustin Williams, I believe his name was. I'm not much of a YouTube guy, but
we occasionally will see people from the West Coast also join us, and that event, while far for them, is certainly much closer than some of our more central events or our more core events, I guess, here at the Midwest Festival.
yeah, Midwest still brings out a lot of West Coast guys. That's a haul, though.
It's a big commitment
for Gingerman. I mean, I get that it's kind of become one of the Time Attack gold standards in tracks in America for whatever reason. I think mostly GRIDLIFE is to blame for that achievement. But it's still not like a bucket list track for most people.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's not. It doesn't have the history that Mid-Ohio does.
Certainly. But arguably, even Buttonwillow's history is recent.
Yeah.
Right.
And
The reason that Buttonwillow is a standard is because it started out as the Time Attack circuit in the United States.
Yep.
You see that over there? It's slick over there.
Don't drive on it. Just drive around it.
So I believe this is our last Time Attack session for the day.
Yeah.
When are you going to fire up that smoker?
We decided that was probably for tomorrow because tonight is the ASM block party.
That's incorrect. I was also misunderstanding. I was told that it was tomorrow.
Son of a gun. We have made a critical error in our meal planning. Guess we'll fire it up first thing tomorrow morning, so maybe we can eat it for lunch, I guess. I don't know.
So, if you're here, it says plain as day. It's Saturday.
Oh, man.
I don't know how I also thought it was Friday.
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is.
Well, I suppose that you're just going to have to come eat hot dogs at my RV.
Yeah, we'll find something. I mean, we could put those on the smoker.
Never had a smoked hot dog.
You can grill with his smoker, and it has just a little bit of extra zing to it.
Okay.
It's fine, though.
So, Time Attack B rolling out. No, this is...
It's still B.
It's still B, but they're rolling out back onto track.
Yep.
Not a huge number of cars taking to the grid, maybe 12, 15. But a few taking the opportunity.
They're the other Fox body out there. A Davidson as well. Number 575. See that car a lot. Lots of GRIDLIFE events that car comes to.
Which?
That kind of primer brownish Fox body.
It's a hard times car, right?
I have no idea.
So an interesting phenomenon in the GRIDLIFE world is the presence of teams or clubs or however you want to call it, just large clusters of drivers that enjoy hanging out with each other, and they might have custom liveries, all of them together, but it's like you know, these weekends are just an opportunity to hang out at the track with your core group of friends.
I miss the Crayola livery theme that I think it was Hard Times.
No, that was TTR.
Ah, yes, Team Twerk. And their S2000s. That was really fun.
That would have been Fong and Alex Westergaard and a couple of others. Yeah, the Crayola themes were very cool.
It was really neat.
So when I think about the core teams of GridLife, Ramblers, one of the originals.
Yeah, probably the original.
TTR, ASM, Hard Times, RS Motors, and like. Who else is common at the events?
Well,
Not Fast.
Yes, they've got quite a few cars this year.
And then PhD is a team now too.
Yeah, they've become quite the team, quite the force to be reckoned with.
So that was what, like 7 or 8 teams that all bring a half dozen cars?
And that's a real big thing in the drift community too. I don't know any of them, but it's a big thing in the drift community.
Yeah. So drivers now taking green in the first hot lap of this restart. Hopefully soon we'll have some updated times. It looks like actually Tony Barber improved with 36. I don't think he was. I think he was in the low 40s just previously.
Is he in a Tesla?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I borrowed his crank pulley puller.
Pulley puller?
His crank pulley puller. Borrowed that for Dalton.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, one of the best things about the GridLife community is that whenever you need something, it's not hard to find it, and it's always given willingly.
Yep, absolutely. People tend to travel with spares and supplies and tools and are willing to share.
Yeah.
So Patrick Daugherty improving with a 139.492 in his pretty much stock Civic Type R. Decently quick time for a car that you can just drive off the lot.
Sub 40s kind of seems to be a quick time here.
Yep, sub 40 definitely fast. Sub 30 really, really fast.
Yeah, 35 I think is like that magic number. Sub 30s is flying.
So again, cars taking checker here after 1 or 2 hot laps. That's just about all you get after a delay like that. Time Attack's Group C will be on track next.
Have we condensed sessions yet?
I can't say.
Okay.
So at the beginning of any weekend, there are a number of cars in each run group, and as attrition kind of sets in and drivers pick and choose which sessions they'd like to run, things typically tighten up. So we started with 5 run groups this morning. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the event we're at 4 or maybe a large 3.
Right. I didn't know if we had already condensed down into 4. So I think with the growing popularity of GLTC, I'm afraid we're going to end up with A main, B main, circle track style.
Well, I'm actually a big fan of that format. When we ran the GridLife eSport series for iRacing, it was A main and B main, and you kind of work your way into the main race. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the circle track way, you know, and you can either qualify that into the main, or you can race your way in too. So it creates for some interesting stories, and that's always fun.
Absolutely. So cars here continuing to take checker. Luca Barbaros just rolling through. I don't know if he was able to improve with a 135.8. Ben Lin running in street class 136.662. If I had to say or speculate what car might have the closest amount of horsepower to Josh Halka, it would have to be Ben Lin.
Yeah.
And so the difference in performance that you're seeing between the two largely has got to be just a command performance by Halka behind the wheel. You're looking at this weekend's grid boss. That's John Raymond in the top of grid, keeping things organized and running on time.
Just kind of curious. I was trying to find qualifying times for IMSA here. Not super successful with it, though. I'm going to have to try that later. It's always kind of interesting to compare time attack cars and their various classes to what I think are kind of similar pro level classes.
Yep.
You just kind of have a feel for where these cars fall. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Just kind of depends on who's here this weekend and stuff like that. But we don't always get that opportunity when we're racing at places like Gingerman and Pikes Peak International. Those tracks haven't had the pro level racing like someplace like here, Mid-Ohio, or Road America, where you can compare that. And it's kind of interesting to get that opportunity.
Well, I really liked being able to see the comparison. Time attack cars are very fast.
They are very
They're
fast.
very fast.
There's no doubt.
The fastest time attack car that's run at COTA is Life Motorsports. I think they ran a 2:06 at the last event. Just for comparison, it's fun to say that an F1 car, conversely, at the same track, has run like a 132, I think, in qualifying.
Yeah.
It's just so much.
Yeah.
And especially in cases like the S's at COTA, knowing that even the fastest time attack cars have to lift and brake in spots in the S's to maintain control of the car, they're going slower and they have to brake, and the F1 cars do it flat. It's just nuts.
Yeah, I know. When I was talking to some of the other guys that are here, talking to Greg Creamer a little bit, I think that the qualifying time here for Indy is in the low 1 minute mark. I don't think it's quite sub-minute.
Okay.
It's in the low minute mark, like between 1 and 1:10.
Really?
Which 20 seconds on what is essentially a 2-mile course, that's a huge delta in time.
It's a big percent.
To even our fastest car that's here this weekend. So, but an Indy car is like a whole different world. You know, it's an open wheel car. It's huge downforce. It's much lighter. It's a whole different world. What I'm more interested in is like, GT3 times, GTD times, stuff like that. Like actual cars that started out as real cars and were turned into factory race cars.
Sure.
Because I think that's more of an apples to apples comparison.
Well, I actually like seeing the pace of the CTR class IMSA cars because those cars don't make a ton of horsepower, but they are really quick. And the reason they're quick is because they have so much aero performance.
Right.
And they still look like they look like muscular factory cars.
Yeah.
So especially like the Honda CTR IMSA car looks excellent.
Yeah.
If you could buy the bodywork to make your road car look like that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So driving this session is actually that what is normally Jacob Bodenauer's car. Kobe Shield is driving. I talked to him during the break. Kobe has many of the Street GT records, but has been driving wheel-to-wheel in another series this year, and told me that he's been missing his GRIDLIFE family. He is excited to be here.
That car, their car, a previous YouTube famous car built originally by Speed Academy, who have been at GRIDLIFEs in the past. It's more of the Canadian friends we just don't get to see right now. But it's kind of cool to see like a semi-famous car being used in such a manner.
Oh yeah,
you know
that car has also a funny name. If you're interested in it, I won't say it on air.
Nah,
but
we'll leave that alone.
But if you want to look up the Speed Academy S2000, you'll probably find it.
It's pretty easy to find. Love their content too.
I really enjoy it.
It's super fun.
Who else on track here? No time set in this session yet.
Not yet. So Mike Coons was one I was real interested in watching this weekend after his performance at PPIR, resetting street class track record there, winning street class overall. Hasn't quite had the pace that I was kind of hoping to see out of him. Certainly not putting the pressure on Josh Holka's time.
Sure.
But I don't know. This might be his first time here. This is a very intimidating track.
Absolutely. And there are spots on track where the location that your car needs to be fast is itself intimidating.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm looking at my track map here. Turn 11 is a left-hander, but to open that corner up as much as possible, your passenger side mirror is essentially on the metal barrier. And you can leave paint there if you want.
Watching cars come basically from 4 to 9, from China Beach through the S's. It's constantly changing direction, left to right. It's also constantly changing elevation up and down.
Looks like our boy Ryan Seiler.
Ryan Seiler there, just a perfect example of what I was trying to talk about was, it's so hard to control the car through there at speed.
Absolutely.
Because it's so easy to lose, control because the back end's getting light, or the direction that you're trying to turn the car and it's not happy about it. There's a lot of time to be made up as a newcomer to this track in that section.
Definitely.
Just in figuring out where to be and how fast you can do it.
Yep. And so, Ryan really getting after it. He's got a 139.9 banked for this session, but he's going to be coming through right now.
Is an improvement over his Heat 2 times.
Doesn't look like he was able to improve there. That last lap was a 140.1.
He's a ways down behind Grant Davidson, who's currently leading the Club TR class.
Is that right?
Yeah.
In the Integra?
In the Integra.
So Grant had a number of Instagram and Facebook posts in the last week looking for specialty ball joints on his car because some things needed to be repaired.
Yeah.
He was unsure if he was going to make it, and now he's leading?
He is, yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that goes, isn't it? So his car recently, I think after Autobahn, got some Internet Magazine coverage.
Neat. It's a really good-looking car.
A profile written up about it that got shared around a little bit. Super cool to see GridLife guys getting some recognition.
Absolutely. Do you know who's driving the Corvette here?
No.
So we saw in the morning session Peter Zhang off course with some kind of mechanical requiring a tow in, but he's back on track.
Yeah, I heard an electrical issue. Who knows what that could mean? That could be anything.
I believe Andrew Sonneville is a driver of one of our kind of club courses. I believe he's driving a Roadster modified Mazda Miata?
Yeah, I think so.
That's car number 12, who is leading this session with a 139.485.
So a few years ago, you guys, GridLife, tried to introduce kind of like a club or an opportunity for groups of people to build kind of their own class rules inside of other existing classes that Roadster class was supposed to be, that it never really got any traction.
Yeah, it's kind of that particular club class was particularly niche, and it wasn't really an off the showroom type setup where 86 Cup, which is not necessarily a GridLife sponsored class, but had a lot of presence in the last couple of years, is very limited in their modifications. So the door is open for a number of cars to come and compete in that class. I think the challenge with the folks who put together the Roadster modified class is that you made it a highly modified group, and the number of competitors who are looking to build exactly that maybe isn't as many as originally thought.
The one that we wanted, that we had joked about, a few friends of mine and I, it was spec V8 swap.
I want spec Alero.
We wanted spec V8 swap because that's just street mod rules, but V8 swapped cars, because most of the time V8 swapped cars had 4 cylinders in them, which kicks them out of street mod, because street mod's engine swap rules are plus or minus 2 cylinders.
Correct.
And so they end up in track mod where they're not quite so competitive because they're still, full interior cars and stock body cars, so they usually don't fit quite the right tire amount.
I think the
so that was
challenge,
kind of our
the
joke for
challenge
a
with
while.
those niche classes is that there just aren't that many that we see on a regular basis.
Right. It is a cool idea. I don't know if that's something you guys still support or encourage, but it was a cool idea.
Well, I think the exciting thing about 86 Cup, when it had a lot of momentum, it was not another class that was necessarily administered or scrutinized by GRIDLIFE, but rather they were competing within our rule set, but also kind of managing their own series, so to speak.
Agreement.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, points were tallied in their 86 Cup Championship entirely out of the GRIDLIFE universe. So
Right. I think they even had some of those that were maybe even events that were not GRIDLIFE events
certainly
that you could attend.
And there were events on the West Coast, and it kind of made it decentralized a little bit a competition class. Whereas right now, GRIDLIFE has a lot of presence in the Midwest, but our reach to California is at the moment a little bit less.
Right.
So we're seeing checker now. This is Time Attack Group C, and I'm looking now at run groups for this third heat, wondering how many run groups we're going to have.
Well, I don't think that the text call went out to combine D and E.
Here's some skids in the background.
Evan Weeder on screen there, a Club TR regular. Not quite showing the pace we've seen out of him at other events this year. Did really well, I believe, at the Gingerman Spring Kickoff.
I am not showing any entries in E, so that should mean that Time Attack D will be our last run group with a whole lot of Sunday Cup cars. Good grief.
So many Sunday Cup cars.
Lots more Mazda 2s in this Sunday
Yep.
Cup compared to what we've seen in the past.
I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am that we're having a few more Sunday Cup cars.
Well, and there's so
I love
much
the variety.
good competition
Yeah.
in Sunday Cup that it's easy to kind of glamorize that high horsepower, crazy stuff that's happening in the front of Time Attack. But actually, there's some extraordinary driving happening in the slowest run group within Time Attack.
Yeah.
I kind of challenge anybody who thinks that Matt Williams isn't fast in his spec fit.
Yeah.
Because we have seen his records stand for years.
Yeah. Against himself even.
Yep.
Which is kind of interesting.
And they only recently started using data in cars to try and get a little bit more speed and get faster, and they have been kind of students of data recently to try and pick up some time.
Yeah. You'll be hard-pressed to find a tighter-knit group of guys who are also competitors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The camaraderie that group has built is amazing.
Yeah, and they're also known for late-night karaoke parties at Gingerman.
Yeah, unfortunately, the karaoke and the PA did not make it.
Well, I also learned it was also them that had the late-night karaoke party at NCM.
Yes, that we got shut down on. I was a participant, an unwilling participant of that.
I think as was one of our friends at Apex Pro, Andrew Ring.
Yes, I have video evidence. He is an impressive man when it comes to karaoke.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, he's very good at it.
You know what? It's been
here
my
this
experience
weekend,
that Andrew's pretty good at a lot of things.
He's one of those that seems to be frustratingly good at things, yes.
Yeah.
He's here this weekend coaching a GLTC competitor.
So making the trip up from Birmingham, Alabama. Excellent driver, former pro, and runs a company called Apex Pro, which does some data analysis, hardware and software that we've used in and they've supported the Slip Angle podcast, so we're grateful for that. But as we we wait for Time Attack Group D. What do you think drivers in this group are hoping to see this session? Because it is decently warm.
Yeah.
I can't imagine too many drivers will set personal bests.
Well, no. I think this is more, this late in the day, you're probably just going out there trying to find time in the track itself for tomorrow.
Yep.
I can take this corner a little bit faster. Oh, I can brake this much later. Just kind of playing with combinations of things. Finding if maybe giving up some on this corner can lead to more on the next corner that's worth the time, which is where that data comes into play.
Certainly. And as we I want to look at the schedule coming up. So we'll have GLTC Race 1 immediately following Time Attack here in about 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, race 1 should be interesting.
So the qualifying order was lots of really fast cars right at the front.
Funny how that works.
Well, it's exciting to see that many drivers at the pointy end.
Yeah, that are that tight. This is certainly a weekend of the who's who in that competition group.
So as we make a list of those drivers at the front, it'd be Eric Attil on pole.
Mm-hmm.
This is his home track.
Yep.
Andy Smedegard is very close, but he's never driven here before besides this morning.
Really?
And,
that surprises me.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know that there were very many tracks in the country he hasn't been on.
And Jeremy Swenson, fast here, as is a number of other drivers. I think the top 6 or 7 are all very close in time.
Yeah.
Lots of people big fans of the Ruckus here at Mid-Ohio.
We have one in our paddock.
Oh, is that right?
Underglow and all.
Nice.
It's a knockoff, admittedly.
Well,
but
it's important to have underglow.
Yeah, absolutely. Stretched. Got to have the stretched and lowered Ruckuses.
So do you just throw it in the gigantic trailer and then?
I mean, obviously, there's more than ample room for anything of the sort. We only brought 2 cars this weekend.
Only.
So yeah, well, it easily will fit 3. I think. Like if they were Miatas or Fitz or something like that, I think we could do 3 on the bottom and 1 on the lift. I think we could get 4 cars in the trailer, 48 foot long. So
it's a big rig.
Yeah. Spotted by many a GRIDLIFE regular on our way here.
Well, it's got a really it's got a conspicuous graphic on the back end,
to say the least.
I think the running joke. So some months ago, Adam was in the starter stand at GRIDLIFE and made the most ridiculous face while waving a checkered flag.
Right.
And one of our photographers got it on camera.
Was it Chris?
Sullivan? I'm not sure.
Okay. I don't know if it was either Chris or Rob. I know that I'm pretty certain of that.
And we turned it into one of those like I don't know, like fathead type things where it's a big vinyl sticker.
Got turned into so many things.
And I think Chris, just making a joke or just for a joke, made a gigantic vinyl sticker.
I think it's 8 foot across and 5 foot tall.
And it was incredibly expensive to produce, and so it was expensive to buy.
Yes, but when the power of the internet as a group gets behind a thing, it's not so bad.
And I learned
it may have been crowdfunded.
I learned that the quality of the image is so high that you could tell what kind of gum Adam is chewing.
Yeah.
Spec Fits out on track, lots of them, and also some other Sunday Cup competitors. Matt Williams leading
look at
the
that.
class.
Kenyal Samuels and Slumdog. We talked about this car earlier in this heat. What a cool little build. An unlimited car. Another car, much like Grant Walker and the Miata. These guys are a team, Mechanical Advantage. A car that has the look and the ability, but we've never really seen the pace out of, but has certainly been getting faster and faster as the years go on.
Certainly. Yeah, and you see that really intricate intercooler setup kind of basically appears to be as a twin intercooler, actually.
Well, if the biggest giveaway for me was the twin wastegate dumps sticking out of the hood.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
So yeah, there's two right above the headlights. There's wastegate dumps.
Well, as we talk about it, it sounds like an intricate Rube Goldberg
There
machine.
you can kind of see it. That's pretty dead giveaway that's a twin turbo car now. So real wild looking build, really cool. An X shift sequential that I think is paddle pneumatic shifted. Really cool.
Neat. So he's having to kind of work his way through, having not put laps down in the previous sessions.
Yeah, a similar problem he had at PPIR where for whatever reason, coming in late, not making it to the event on time, or mechanical problems, Lord knows, not able to put in qualifying times earlier, so having to start from the back of the pack and run your way through these run groups, which makes it really hard with the closing speeds that he has to the rest of this group. Really hard for him to get clean, traffic-free laps.
Yep, and so like there is some strategy here as it relates to knowing when to make your move and how to manage a time attack session. Often drivers can get frustrated by the presence or absence of traffic around them, and not so many people. Kendall Samuel with a 140.7, respectable time.
Yeah.
Not bad for first
in
lap.
traffic.
Yep. You'll see, actually, as I look at that car, the
Given those point buys, like,
the amount of tire underneath is not very much.
It's not as much as you might think. No, I don't know that the GC chassis that's built on is much of a tire.
Unless you're doing a lot of custom fabrication,
Right.
I'm sure.
If you look at a car like Eric Dewey's Boogeyman, like that's got a wide body on it to fit the tire that he's got. This car, I don't even know, is as wide as Dewey's. So,
and even in Dewey's car, we're talking about a 255 wide tire, which by modern standard is not
skinny.
that big.
No, which is hilarious, kind of. But Joe Johnson out there and his Festiva, one of my favorite people at any GridLife event. Always willing to lend a hand. Great mechanic.
No, is that right?
Yeah, a GM master mechanic.
Well, why isn't Dalton's
I don't
car
know that
fixed?
he wants the whole world to know, but I'm going to display, or I'm going to broadcast it right here. It's fine.
Well, then you better get Dalton's car fixed.
He's got his own master mechanic. It's all right. Dalton always talked about how he never wanted to get to the point where he had to bring a team. He doesn't want a car that's so ridiculous and I don't know that unreliable is the right word, but ridiculous that he needs a team to work on it. But here we are.
Well, and maybe it's just Ferris's commitment to being prepared, but he's here by himself this weekend.
I think he's got one helping hand, maybe. I don't know. There was somebody that looked like they were helping him a little bit. And I'm sure if he needed it, he could find it.
I'm
I'd
sure
be more
of
than
that,
happy to
but
dive in with him.
I
if he
think we're
needed
used
something.
to seeing unlimited class teams show up with many crew members.
Yeah, Houghton and Will often having 3 to 5 guy teams.
Yep. So Kendall Samuel improving this session to a
there we go.
138.3.
That's what we're looking for.
Of course, still plenty of time to gain, but it's nice to see that car finally getting up to pace.
That will put him in a place. Oops, sounds like maybe we're having a little bit of backfiring issues there. But that will put him up into a place in the next session starting tomorrow morning where he's going to be in traffic that's a little more speed similar.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
so that will give him the opportunity to have more clear track and maybe put down even faster times.
So drivers making their way through the S's. Really, really fun section of the track. It's fast.
Yeah.
And I think in something like a Sunday Cup car, a spec fit, it's just
it's
pretty
flat.
close to just flat.
It's probably flat, yeah. Look at them going, one after the other.
Beep, beep.
Yeah. forgot to ask. I was going to bother Matt Williams, see if he is double dutying.
To my knowledge, yes.
That's a lot of work in of itself.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but it's a lot of work. I don't think his record from years previous still standing. Set last year at 151.7. I was kind of looking through here, trying to see.
Actually, it shows him with a 151.550, so new record for Sunday Cup.
Look at that. I don't know if any of the ones above him. Nope, looks to me like he is at least in this session, the fastest Sunday Cup car. So,
not a surprise.
No, not really. As you know, I love Matt as much as anybody, but I wouldn't hate seeing him dethroned.
Well, I think he would probably see it as an opportunity to try and get faster.
Yeah.
His car is incredibly accessible. Really, really simple setup for Sunday Cup. Good brakes.
Yeah.
Not like big brake kit, just good pads.
Yep.
A set of spec coilovers.
Whoa!
And
that
just
car up on 2 wheels.
Driven hard.
Oh man.
Oh boy. A little Mazda 2 action.
Mazda 2
it's
is
a
really
little
getting
reminiscent of our friend Ryan Finch, who won here in street class front wheel drive a few years ago. But
holds a distinction that we don't like to talk about.
Well, he drove pretty hard that day, but he did win.
Too hard, maybe.
And I know he's watching now, so we miss you, Ryan, and we wish that you were here.
Absolutely.
Also, we've got a couple of folks, Chris F. and Mikey, who are sick and couldn't make it. But we appreciate those guys, and we wish them well.
Yeah, big shout out.
You like that Festiva, don't you?
I do. Not as much as the Festiva they brought to Pikes Peak, but on our way here this weekend, on our way here yesterday, we passed a Festiva driving down the road, and I don't know. I'm sure that he felt incredibly uncomfortable because the amount of staring that we were doing, like just like eyeballing this car.
Well, I mean, you are known.
Let's see if we can get him to pull over. I'll give him $500 for that right here. There's room
you're
in the
known
back of
for
the
having an
trailer.
affinity for just terrible cars.
And oddly enough, the people I've surrounded myself with know better. The amount of excitement we have for a Cobalt SS as we're driving down the road is way too high.
Still could be a really, really competent street class car.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm working on some things. I don't know. I'm slowly being swung to being talked into selling basically everything I own and buying something else. And the top of that list is a Cobalt.
So as we kind of wait for the finish here, we're checkering on Time Attack Group D. We're going to be doing a changeover here to GLTC momentarily, and you'll be hearing Greg Creamer and Alex Moss on the radio here in a moment. But we thank you for watching, and we hope that you enjoyed this final Time Attack session of the day. And hopefully now we can hear a word from our partners.
Today's coverage of GridLife's Track Battle Time Attack is being brought to you by Falken Tire, competition proven performance. 303 Performance, premium protectants and cleaners exceeding expectations since 1980. STA-BIL, ready, willing, stable. MOMO, the official safety partner of GridLife. And by HP Tuners. HP Tuners, connect, read, edit, write, and drive.
We've been powering the American road since before it was paved. Our first breakthrough in motor oil was introducing it. And we've been reinventing it ever since. From the world's first high-mileage oil to the world's first synthetic blend. There are those who change with the times, and those who drive them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.
The Falken Azenis RT660 is the enthusiast's choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falken Azenis RT660.
Hawk Performance packs 100 years of friction dynamics into every product. Backed by Carlisle Brake and Friction, the world's premier innovator of industrial brake and friction components, Hawk leverages R&D tools and motorsports experience to deliver uncompromising performance on the street. There's no reason to settle for less. Choose pads that are race proven and street legal. Find the Hawk Performance brake dealer near you at hawkperformance.com.
Here at FCP Euro, we take pride in the fact that each and every one of your orders is picked, packaged, and shipped by a fellow car enthusiast. We understand that you need the right parts and need them fast to complete that next project or get your daily driver back on the road. Take Roberto, one of the pickers in the distribution center and one of the key pieces to making sure the right parts arrive at your door. When he's not at FCP Euro, Roberto is driving his Mark V R32 to various car shows around the Northeast. When he's picking orders, he puts himself in your shoes and understands that you need the right parts to arrive at your door, so he takes the utmost care in making sure he puts the correct items in the box. To learn more about us, head to fcpeuro.com.
It is race time here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, everybody, as we are getting set for the first of 4 races to unfold over this weekend in the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup as part of the GRIDLIFE Mid-Summer Meet. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer. Great to have you with us here at this legendary sports car course for what should be an absolutely fascinating race, joined by Alex Moss, last year's Street Mod Track Attack champ. When you look at the grid, top 11 covered by 0.8 of a second. That's insanely close, and that means this is just going to be a cracker of a race.
Yeah, hopefully it means we're going to get a great race, good battles for the front, but it really shows the level of balance of power that we have in GLTC, that we're that close, that deep into the field.
Well, and the diversity of cars up and amongst those top 11, you know, you've got V8s, you've got, I mean, pretty much everything in the mix here. That level of diversity in that close of a grouping really, to me, indicates rules makers got this pretty close to right.
Yep, yeah, I think the entry list shows that as well. That we've got a lot of people here that are close, and we've got a lot of people that show up to want to race in this rule set.
Now, as often happens after any session, but it's always pretty crucial after qualifying, there have been some developments. Let's talk a little bit about that. First of all, one of the top guns in this championship, Andy Smedegard.
Yes, so Andy set his fastest time after the checkered flag, so after the end of the session. So that first time that we saw him set has been deleted, and he dropped back down to 7th.
And then another big story is the one involving Austin Hertel.
Yep, so Austin's, we talked about this in qualifying, but Austin's been having some troubles with that car and just getting it dialed in. One of those problems is it getting stuck in gear in the transmission. During qualifying, he got stuck in 4th. He's still going to start the race. I believe he's going to start from the back of the grid, and he's going to try and complete the race all in one gear.
That's going to be fascinating to see. You said the gear it's stuck in is probably the right gear for this track, at least.
Yeah, if I was going to be stuck in a gear, 4th is probably the gear I'm choosing.
And you can see the field starting to queue up down on the pre-grid as we're getting ready for the first of 4 races. And this is going to be absolutely crucial, because how your speed in this race determines your starting lineup for race 2. So even if you've got a problem here, you've got to try and do something about getting a lap. Would you even maybe, if you're in traffic, find a little bit of a gap early while your tires are still pretty fresh, and then just try and throw down a lap knowing it's going to be crucial for the first of the races tomorrow?
I think some people will do that. Some competitors maybe that didn't qualify quite where they wanted to for this race will try and have a mind to that fastest lap. I think the people at the front, the top 10, are going to be all shooting for that win, though, because that's what delivers the points. But it is a unique scenario that we've got where we're competing for two things in this race. First is the points for the race. The second is fastest lap sets the grid for tomorrow. So it's almost a qualifying session and a race.
Yeah, actually, that's a very solid point about it sort of having a dual purpose here, and it always plays into it because it can kind of domino. If you get a bad lap in this race, you start back in the pack for tomorrow's race. Tomorrow's race finishing order depends how you run in the third race. So if you're mired in the pack, I mean, it can really affect things. So you've got to get it right. And one of the things you've got to deal with is a very technical, what I call a driver's track, a track where a driver can make a heck of a difference here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Let's take a look at it. There you are, front straight. First turn, fastest turn on the track. It's a blind approach under a bridge. So you commit at great speed here. You turn in earlier than you'd think because you want to flow speed. You want to use all the curb on the exit. The track actually comes up a little bit, so you actually get a little bit more grip on the exit. Then into the keyhole. You want to late apex that to get a huge run out, float through this kink, absolutely flat out, and then into the area where if you run wide here in 4, you're in China Beach. You're up into madness right now. Big jump right there over 7. Huge jump right at the apex there in 9. Run through Thunder Valley. It dips, then climbs up to 11. Another blind apex. And then the carousel, Alex, obviously also really important. You want to late apex that out of 12 to get that run back onto the front straight. This is all done in 2.25 miles, so you don't really get a lot of rest here at this track. And look at here. This shot shows you Madness on the right and Thunder Valley on the left.
Yeah, it's a beautiful track. It's got a lot of elevation changes. Cars are busy, drivers are busy throughout the whole lap. As a spectator here, between our last session, I went and rode around the grounds. It's a really beautiful place to be and a beautiful place to go and watch the cars go around the track.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of a park-like setting in many ways, and it's a great place to come and watch racing. Just a lot of fun here, and it's great to have this field here. We've got a big field. Almost 40 cars are going to be setting off here on this rather short track, and that keeps things interesting.
Yep, always. Not only are you always dealing with the direction of the track and the elevation changes, you're going to be in traffic basically the whole race.
And one of the big things with this series is no contact, and they made a really good point. When they talk of overlap, we're not talking about you've got to have your car a halfway alongside or 2/3. If you've just got overlap where your front end of your car is up to the rear wheels of the other car, that other car then has to give you that little bit of racing room. And that's one of the things, folks, that I really, really like about this championship. I've been a lifelong believer that if you've got it stuck around the outside or around the inside, and you can stay there, you've earned that piece of racetrack. This series respects that.
Yep, that's right. There is, as far as I'm aware, no circumstance where a driver has the right to run another car off the road. You always must leave room to another car, whether that's on the inside or on the outside. And yeah, contact is not tolerated in any way, shape, or form.
And they really kind of went through that in the drivers' meeting, and I thought one of the lines that was really, really good there was the fact that Scott Giles made the comment. He goes, if you take the space going in, be prepared to give it going out. And I think that really is good, and it makes for some great racing. We've seen already this season where, 2x2 through 3, 4, 5 straight corners. That's spectacular stuff. Let's get you through the starting lineup. On the pole is Eric Coutil, third in the points, coming in 2 wins this year. The 94 of Tom O'Gorman on the outside, 4 wins, but only 10th in the points after missing a couple of rounds. Inside of row 2, the 190 of Aaron Lichty, leading in the points by 8, 3 wins on the season. Then starting in the 4th spot, by virtue of that problem for Andy Smedegard, will be Jeremy Swenson. 5 wins on the year, winningest driver, second in the points right now in that thundering number 30 Corvette. Starting 5th will be the 61 of DJ Alessandrini, a couple of top 10s this year. Then starting in the 6th spot, number 7, Luke McGrew, 4th in the points with 2 wins this year. Then it'll be Andy Smedegard starting in the 7th spot. He too has 4 wins, sits 8th in the points right now. Then starting 8th, the number 14 of Emil Tab. fifth in the points right now, 6 podiums so far this year. Then Austin Hertel, qualified 9th. He can start there if he wants, but as we said, he may have dropped back just to not be a problem at the start. Starting in the 10th spot, the 27 of Scott McGee. Starting in the 11th spot, the 184 of Eric Jensen. He's had a podium this year. And 12th, the 202 of Jake Price. 13th will be the 92 of Marcus Luttrell. 14th, the 26 of Lewis Chattroop. Starting 15th, the 484 of Matan Rosenberg. In 16th, the 188 of Daniel Howard. Starting in the 17th spot, number 13, Ryan Upton. Starting 18th, the 187 of Chris Adams. Starting in the 19th spot, the 101 of Gary Wimble. And rounding out the 10th row, the number 113 of Wesley Penn. Starting on the inside of the 11th row, the number 28 will be Steve Pruden. Starting in 22nd will be the 42 of Zach Lavoie. Starting in the 23rd spot will be number 3, Eric Meadows, who's had a podium this year. And the number 24th starting spot will be the 33 of Justin Lee, also with a podium this year. Starting in the 25th spot, the number 18 of Colton Wade. Starting 26th, the 777 of Ron Solomon. Starting 27th, the 213 of Scott Robertson. Starting 28th, the 159 of Joshua Rubenstein. Starting 29th, the number 6 of Ryan Christoph. Starting 30th, the number 24 of Dustin Barty. Starting 31st, the 261 of Brad Kosiba. Starting 32nd, the 102 of Andrew Work. Starting 33rd, the 46 of Team Griffin. That is a father and son team that change off as the season unfolds. Starting in the 34th spot, the 515 of Thomas Moss. Starting 35th, 106 Michael Kritikos. Starting 36th, the 898 of Brian DeFries. Starting 37th, the 541 of Seth Gale. Starting 38th, the 182 of Max Lupfer. And rounding out the field, starting 39th, the 71 of Joel Morrison, who has a podium in a couple of top 5s, really didn't get the qualifying run that Joel wanted, and that we certainly know he's capable of. So as I said, big field, and they are out. Now, as you see there, the pace car, Alex, has headed off, but they won't start here on this front straight. They actually start back on the back stretch, as they call it.
That's right. So what we'll see here as they come up through turn 1 and approach the keyhole is they will start lining up side by side in rows 2 by 2, basically, and you're supposed to keep just a 1.5 car length gap between the car and in front. So you're not supposed to lag back to try and get a jump on the start, but try and keep that pack tight, and then everybody goes when the green flag waves, which will be halfway down that back straight.
Yeah, some Pro Series, they have a rule at the start when the green waves, you have to wait till you cross the starting line. Here, when it's green, as they say. Boy, a couple of cars getting antsy already coming out of turn 1. The interesting thing here is going to be that bright purple Corvette, because that is Swenson, and he has shown the willingness to really launch in the early going here, and we'll see just what he's going to be able to do as the cars come around. And it looks like he's starting up in the 4th spot. So am I missing something here? I see there's Lady Alessandro's not up there right now, is he? Well, we're going to find out how this plays out as we are coming to the green. Wait for it. Down this long back stretch. Race 1 about to unfold. We're green! Nice start, but look at Swenson in the Corvette looking to the outside, trying to do something. Lichty trying to find a way through 2. He's up to the inside, and look at Swenson. He's around side O'Gorman, but on the brakes, O'Gorman running the wide line. We call it the Tracy line if you're an IndyCar fan. And O'Gorman side by side with Coutil up and around the top of turn 5 through the S's, and finally Coutil able to slot in and take the spot. Swenson jumps into 3rd, Lichty in 4th.
Yeah, it really looked like Jeremy had got by Tom O'Gorman there at the start, but under the braking for China Beach, Tom just pulled away, just was able to brake a little bit later and maintain that position.
Yeah, you can run that little wider angle around turn 4 there, and Tom played that to perfection, but Coutil just had that line dialed up. Now, up through turn 11, this is how quick you complete a lap here, heading into the carousel. Watch him diamond it here. You in early, float out just a little bit, then get back to that apex, grab the throttle. Boy, and O'Gorman went to throttle. You can see that Honda pushed just a little bit and gave Coutil just a little bit of a margin here as they're both opening up about a couple of car lengths lead back to Swenson.
Yeah, coming through, it looks like we're mostly holding station. Not a whole lot of position changes that I can see here, but I'm sure that's going to change as we go through this race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out for Swenson here. Because, again, he's running a lot heavier car, and he's running on those street tires. He's got the power, obviously. But this is a track that, there's a lot of flow here, and sometimes you're not that heavy on the brakes. So that might help him here, but he's certainly going to use up those tires. And here he goes, taking a run at O'Gorman. This is the one long dyno run here. Kutil looks really good here, and O'Gorman going to be really stout on the brakes and fends off Swenson again. But that battle, I think, is going to rage for a while.
I think so, too. I think it's kind of critical for Jeremy to get ahead of these two cars at the start of the race. What we've seen in the past is Jeremy's car, maybe on those street tires, tends to fade towards the end. So it's kind of imperative for him to get past these two cars, build a bit of a lead, so that when those race tires come into their own and his tires start to fade, he's got that cushion that he can defend.
You can see groups starting to pack up pretty much throughout the field here, and with a field this big, you tend to find drivers that are racing about your same pace, and you get into these great duels. Remember, folks, huge variety of cars, one class, and that's one of the things that's absolutely great about the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup is this power to weight equalizing formula, and it changes a little bit with aero and the like, but it keeps even this wide disparity of cars really, really close and keeps it exciting here. Turn 1, again, we talk about just floating big speed through that corner.
Yeah,
a little scrap behind that top 4. There's DJ Alessandrini. I don't know why he dropped back a little bit, but he's attacking right now in McGrew for that 4th spot right now. Excuse me, that 5th spot.
Yeah, and Luke's not going to give up that position easily. He is a fierce competitor on the track, and DJ's got his work cut out for him if he wants to get past Luke.
And you can see Smedegaard right there. I think that's Emil Tab, who started in the 8th spot and was able to jump around Smedegaard. Here we go, the big move possibly here. Down to the inside, McGrew fighting hard. DJ has his nose there, so here we go in that side-by-side formation. And McGrew has that line. Now let's see, can DJ surprise him down maybe into turn 6? No, did not. Settled right back in again, but boy, right now that's we got Emil Tab really putting the pressure on with Smedegaard right behind him. So that is a great 4-car battle right now for that 5th spot.
Yeah, we've got about 4 cars covered in the space of where maybe 6 could fit if they were parked.
Exactly.
But everybody giving each other space. I mean, no risk really that we're seeing to any cars. Everybody's being fair. Everyone's being firm, but they're coming through there safely and protecting the equipment.
Well, I think that's a matter of the respect that is really everybody gets everybody, but it's constantly they're reminded of it in the meetings. Look, respect your competitors. These are your friends. You want to end this weekend wherever you finish smiling and having fun, and that's why it didn't surprise me there to see that DJ didn't make a big surprise lunge down into turn 6, because they talk about if you look in your mirror and you think that guy behind you can't reasonably get to the apex before you, then you can start to plan to turn in. And if DJ had lunged, that wouldn't have been reasonable.
Right. Yeah. There's certainly an anti-dive bomb philosophy here that you can't just dive on someone under the brakes. But I mean, these cars make speed in different ways. So some cars will be able to brake better than others.
And there you see that absolutely displayed as Swenson that time was absolutely alongside O'Gorman. That lighter, nimbler S2000, a little bit deeper on the brakes, and he was able to hang on to it. The one thing I think Swenson might be surprised with is it doesn't happen often, but that Porsche of Lichty, that car is staying right with Swenson in the horsepower runs, and checked in with Aaron, and he said, one, I wanted to bring the Porsche out. Oh, we got somebody that has run off track and is parked over there. Couldn't quite pick up that number. I don't know if you recognize that car that was parked.
No, it looked like a Red Miata. I'm not sure. It didn't look like Scott Robertson's, but that's the only Red Miata that comes to mind right now. Hopefully it's not going to impact the race, though, and it's in a safe area where we can just keep it under local yellow.
Lichty got down to the inside of Swenson, coming through the last turn, 13. Does he have the overlap? He does not. Swenson, just that little bit of extra horsepower, got him to clear him as they got up to turn 1 so that he had a free run through that corner. But Lichty's got the right idea there. Get that nose up inside and try and rattle Swenson a bit. But that's what I'm talking about. Usually there, Swenson would just pull away from whoever's behind him. And at that point, Lichty was staying right in his mirrors.
Yep, and I think Andy Smedegaard just attempted to pass Aaron Lichty. And I've not seen him come around.
No, or I don't think we've seen DJ come through either. So that's a bit of an issue here as we're watching this once again. There's Lichty. And as I was saying, I checked in with him, and he said the Porsche really likes the quote-unquote pro tracks where there's a little bit more open space to really run. And he said that's why he wanted to bring it. He said, plus the other thing is, he said, I love the other cars. He loves his Mazda. He said, I wanted to bring this Porsche out so that people can see just how fast these other cars are. Again, he said, but yeah, I thought I could do better with the Porsche here.
Sure.
And that's the racer in him, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody's friends here, but make no mistake, there's plenty of people here that want to win and are going to push to win. These are competitive folks that are out here playing. So while they're friends, while they're going to give respect.
We may have a full course caution here. Yep, there comes the pace car. And I think it might be because of Smedegaard, D'Alessandro, and maybe Emil Tab, because they've just sort of vanished from the back here. McGrew is still right there, sitting in 7th, but now it's the 184 of Eric Jensen has moved up and taken over that 6th spot. So something happened there. We couldn't quite see what it was, but Jensen, he's running that, I think that's the LS engine-swapped Scion FRS.
Yes, it is. I mentioned before that I didn't think there was a V8 FRS, but I was quickly corrected by the internet, and it was.
It's merciless, isn't it?
It is.
So that's one of the cars, but I think there's a couple others that have had something come around as well. Like we said, we don't see Smedegaard, we don't see DJ.
Yep. Yeah,
nor Emil. So
that read me out what we saw before whatever this incident is. And then just as the camera cut away, we saw Andy Smedegaard move to the inside of not Aaron Lichty, but the winning Formula Miata.
Yes.
And they did not come out of the keyhole, or we did not see them come out of the keyhole.
Yeah, there's a sizable gap behind McGrew. So under an early caution here, and again, these are 15-minute races. So if you have a caution like this, it really eats into the race time. And remember, at this stage, it's imperative to get a really good lap here in the early going. And at this point, it looks like Coutil would have the quickest lap with O'Gorman sitting in the 2nd spot. They're the only guys into the 135s at this part of the event. Then the 36.2, that's a 2.4 for Swenson, a 36.27 for Lichty. But quicker than them is McGrew at a 36.1, so he would essentially be 3rd at this point, and that's obviously extremely crucial to be able to turn those laps and get that. We talked about it. Get one in early, because you never know when something like this is going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to plan for this kind of thing. Yeah.
So at this point, everybody gets to sort of ease back and rethink things, and there comes, I think that's the flat toe to help get that car out of the way.
Yeah, so I have still not seen Andy Smedegaard's car or Emil Tab or DJ Alessandrini's car either. I was expecting to be able to see them somewhere around the keyhole there, but I did not see them. I'm assuming they got them moving again.
I wonder if either they're a ways off the track and out of camera view, or they were able to limp around and get into pit lane maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, this car at the back here may be Emil Tab at the back of the line.
It could be, doesn't it?
So that's good news that he's back and moving again under his own power and actually rejoining the race. Still, obviously, Andy Smedegaard and DJ Alessandrini that we haven't been able to see yet.
Well, and Emil was behind those two, I believe, so he may have just ended up taking evasive.
True.
And just lost a lot of track position, which at this place is pretty crucial. One thing about this track, it's challenging and the like, but it is one of the challenges here is not necessarily the easiest place to pass. Down at the end of that long back straight, but you can see if you're on the inside and have better brakes, you can make it work. But Tomo showed you can also do outside, but that's really the one place that is an easy pass, if you will.
Yeah. From what I've seen of this track, it seems like it should be, a difficult place to race and a difficult place to get alongside somebody and make a pass happen. So, yeah, I can see that definitely being true.
Well, and one of the things is, when you just look at the map, you'd think, well, turn 9 maybe you could do something. Yeah, but the map doesn't show that big jump right at the apex,
right.
Where if you get down underneath somebody, you're both going to get light coming over that, and that's when things can get a bit sticky.
Yes.
As it were.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Kutil, O'Gorman, Swenson in the podium positions right now. Then Lichty, McGrew, Jensen, Upham. He's always been every race he's run, he's just always lurking, it seems. Upham is right up in that top group, keeping everybody honest. Ryan doing a nice job. Then McGee, Chat Troop, and the 188 of Howard. So Emil Tab apparently ducked into the pit, so maybe he was involved a little bit, ducked into the pits and came back out again. In terms of DJ Alessandrini, we're not exactly sure about that, nor Smedegaard at this point, so we're flying a little blind here, but that certainly is why we think we're under caution. As we said, they both may be in the pits at this point.
Yeah, still unsure where they are. So, yeah, no news really at this time.
And right there under that bridge in the shot, that red bridge, that's where you get a very light moment as the elevation is significant. And then right at the bottom of the screen, that apex on that curbing, right where you apex, which is that tightest point to the inside of the corner, is where there's a big rise and drop. And if you don't get the car turned in at the right point, you can either be too conservative, really square it up too much, and then you're slow out all the way through Thunder Valley. But if you overshoot, really easy to get off on the outside there. One of those commitment meters, as we like to call it.
Absolutely, yeah. and it does. It's a roller coaster ride for sure. As you come through turn 9 and the car just falls, or the track falls away from you, and the car starts to move towards the outside of the track. And then as the track levels out again, everything grips up and you kind of take off down to Thunder Valley.
And having a look here, Alessandrini, Smedegaard, and unfortunately Matan Rosenberg at the back. And it looks like Austin Hertel decided not to run. He hasn't completed any laps, and he may have just decided that would just be too much. But Alessandrini, but this is interesting. He turned a 136.1, so it's not quite into that 135 range of those top two guys. So he's going to be starting well up in the race tomorrow. That's the good news for him. And our understanding now, we just got word from race control that Smedegaard is in fact off track, and they think it's in a rather sketchy location. And so they are going to have to go and extract him here. And I'm not sure that we're going to be able to get back to green in this one as a result.
No, it looks like they were just given the white flag.
Okay.
I've also heard that it's potentially somewhere between 2 and 3 that Andy's located. So, yeah, not sure exactly where they are, but hopefully they can get that car out safely. Hopefully everybody is okay and ready to go for the next race tomorrow.
Absolutely, and I'm again looking at the qualifying and how competitive it was, looking at the times and how close they were at this point up until we had that caution. This, I think, is going to be a really good race tomorrow as well. And unfortunately, we didn't see what happened there with Smedegaard and Alessandrini. And as we said, they really work to not have contact here, but it's racing, and every once in a while, every once in a while, you're going to have that little bit here. And, we didn't see it, so it's possible that one of them broke.
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
other guy just couldn't avoid him, too. So, and those are things not a lot you can do about it. So we think this will probably be the final lap. So the order as they run right now will be the one. And I just took a look again at the times, and it was Kutil at a 135.6, fast lap of the race, O'Gorman at a 135.8, and then McGrew at a 135.9. Those should be the top 3. And then it looked to me, as I was checking it out here, that DJ Alessandrini has turned the next fastest lap, a good one, at a 136.1. So he should start outside of row 2 with Smedegaard at a 136.6. So I'm trying to see if anybody was, there were a couple of there's a 136.4, 136.2, Lichty a 136.2, Swenson a 136.2 as well. So Smedegaard will be back just a little bit in the order, but DJ, boy, he threw one down before this happened, so that's going to pay off big for him tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's interesting, as we talked about, tomorrow's race, finishing order decides where you start in race 3, correct?
Correct, that's right. So tomorrow's first race, or race 2, the grid order is determined by fast lap here, and there we see the cars. And they look, at first glance, to be relatively intact, so that's obviously very good news.
And checkered flag flies, indeed. You hate to see it happen behind the pace car, but every once in a while, that's just how things go here. So Coutil gets another win, and he's having a good season. Of course, the defending season champion, that's his 3rd win on the year. And O'Gorman comes through with a 2nd-place finish. Swenson, another podium. He has had a great run this year as well. Lichty in 4th. McGrew will round out the top 5. Then Jensen, Upham, McGee, Chattroop, and Howard round out the top 10. But your podium, Coutil, O'Gorman, and Swenson. And it's important to remember here, you get points for each of the races, but at the end of the 4 races, they combine them, and the very prestigious part of the weekend is the guy with the most, or girl with the most points at the end of those 4 races gets the weekend winner plaque, and that's an important one.
That's right, yeah. So the event itself is judged on the combination of those 4 races and the accumulation of points across the 4 races. So that's what determines the winner for this weekend, and that's what gets then applied to the championship.
Now, the question is, and you've been around this for a bit, obviously, tomorrow, we had 1 race today with an early practice and a qualifying. Tomorrow, it gets busy. We have race 2, then we do the shootout. They're bringing the shootout back, which I can't wait to find out, which will be was it the top 10?
Yep, top 10 finishers from race 2 will advance to the shootout, where they will do a single flying lap to determine the grid for race 3.
And then from 11th on back, it's as we saw finishing order.
As we finish, yeah.
And so then we get race 3, then we've got some other stuff, and then we finish with race 4. So tomorrow, a busy day. So in your experience now, this is the one day you've got time between one of the races and the next ones. Cars that were struggling, obviously, that have issues they're going to fix, but big maybe overhauls working on setup and the like tonight, because tomorrow, when it gets going, it's pretty quick.
Yeah, there's not going to be too much of a chance to fix everything. There we see the 2 cars driving off.
Look at the crabbing there for DJ.
Yeah, DJ's does not look like it's driving straight, unfortunately.
No.
I did hear, as we were going through there, that both of the drivers are reporting back that they're okay, which is obviously the most important thing.
By far. Yeah, but DJ's car definitely has some sort of an issue, and Smedgard running fairly slowly as well. And we have seen this year that if there's a team out there that can make a fix in a hurry, it's the ASM team, yeah? Yes.
We were unfortunate to see Tom manage to have an engine expire at race 1 at Autobahn Country Club. And in the 3 hours between race 1 and race 2, the team managed to get that engine swapped and get the car back out on track.
Yeah, 90 minutes, I think they got it done, wasn't it?
It was.
I mean, the engine that they took out was still warm.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It was still warm. Yeah.
That was impressive.
Yep.
And I'm going to give a big shout out to Luke McGrew, because he understands when you got a series whose TV coverage is fairly drone oriented. Big number 7 on the roof of that car.
Yep.
Like you, Luke. You just became a favorite for sure. So as the pack is heading down and heading into the paddock here, obviously the top 3 will be doing a bit of celebrating. But everybody will be getting ready for a busy, busy day tomorrow. And to give you an idea, our stream will be coming back at you at about 9:30 tomorrow morning. That's Eastern time, local time here, with the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup 2nd race. Alex and I will be bringing that to you. And then we'll have time attack. Then we get right into, shortly after that, the shootout. And then more time attack. Then GLTC Race 3. Then some more time attack. And we've got the HPDE, the High Performance Driver Education there. And then once again, last thing on the day will be the 4th and final race for the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. So a busy day tomorrow. Love to have you come and join us. It all starts at 9:30 Eastern time. It's been great. I'm Greg Creamer. Certainly for my partner here, Alex Moss, it's been fabulous. And to Abe and Adam as well, who did such a great job working on the time attack calls. It's been absolutely great. Weather's supposed to, we were thinking maybe rain tomorrow. Looks like that may have cleared out. So we may be in for another fabulous day of racing. I can't wait to do it. It's been a pleasure, Alan.
Thank you. Yeah, it should be a good day. Very much looking forward to it.
Likewise, likewise. All right, folks, whatever you do tonight, do it safely. And if you're in the area here, come on out tomorrow and have some fun with us. We're looking forward to it. And just take care. Today's coverage of the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup is brought to you by FCP Euro. Every part you buy is guaranteed for life. Falken Tire. Competition-proven performance. MOMO, the official safety partner of GRIDLIFE. Hawk Brakes. Race-proven, street-legal. And Valvoline. Valvoline VR1, available at Advanced Auto Parts stores.